So around about 2 months ago, I uploaded a video where I basically looked at the giant sword and evaluated, is it really worth it? 2 months later, updates have come and gone, obviously things have changed, and I think we're going to revisit it. But before we do get into the video, if you do watch my videos and you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We're getting closer and closer to 6k now, so just hit the subscribe button. Also, the Discord's linked in the description. If you've not joined that, then go ahead and join that too. But anyway, let's get into the video. I hope you all do enjoy. So for those of you that don't know, the giant sword is mainly a mage weapon in dungeons, right click mage in particular. In the previous video that I did make about this, I actually tested it out as a berserk, which was interesting. You know, it probably wasn't quite worth the price tag, but today we're just going to be solely testing out the damage outside of dungeons. So this is a sword that we're going to be testing today. It is recombobulated, one for all, fuming potato with the plus 10 strength from the gemstone. The stars on it are pretty much irrelevant. We're going to be testing it out against this livid dagger. I guess the difference is that it doesn't have the plus 10 strength from the gemstone, but pretty much everything else is the same. Like I said again, the stars are irrelevant, we're not even testing it in dungeons. So obviously we'll have to account for that slight strength difference. One thing to note is that this giant sword cost 172 million coins, which is very expensive for what it is. But the real question is it worth the difference in price? As opposed to this livid dagger, which was, I think it was about 25 to 30 million coins. But anyway, let's get on with the comparison and let's see if this is really worth it. So we're just going to go ahead and test the swords out over at the graveyard. Now obviously everyone's at different stages in the game with different stats and different talismans. Obviously this means that it is very unlikely that the damage that I do will be the damage that you do as well. It may be less, it may be more, but the key thing to take away is that the actual percentage and change from the damage from the livid dagger to the giant sword will be very, very, very similar. So for the first test, we're just going to use the sword. We don't have any armor equipped and we don't have a pet on or anything like that. So we're just going to see how much the livid dagger does in terms of damage. It's going to be about 76k. 79k. It's going to vary slightly because of the fabled reforge. Obviously the giant sword is withered, so it may be slightly more of a consistent damage. Obviously that's also the other slight difference, but in the grand scheme it's probably not going to make a massive difference. Now let's see how much damage the giant sword does. So that wasn't a crit, which is just unfortunate, but 145k, which is really nice, obviously, compared to the livid dagger, 145k. Now on face value you might think, okay, well the giant sword is way better, which it probably is, but there are a few things that you have to consider. For instance, the livid dagger deals twice the damage when you actually hit a mob in the back, and also the livid dagger gives you 100% crit chance and also 100% bonus attack speed, which basically means that if you don't already have 100% bonus attack speed, then you're going to have to make up for that with reforges in order to get the same attack speed with the giant sword. So say for instance if you were to have no base extra attack speed whatsoever, the livid dagger would hit twice as fast as the giant sword, therefore in that case doing twice the DPS. Obviously 75,000 plus 75,000 is 150,000, so in that case it will do slightly more damage. But obviously if you are able to get the bonus attack speed up with the giant sword, then you can almost be doing obviously double that. Now obviously then if you go to reforge talismans to optimise for a bonus attack speed, then you are going to lose out a slight bit in terms of the actual damage buff that you'll get from the talismans, but in the grand scheme that's not going to make a massive difference. So now we're going to do a damage test with our full Necron armor and also our tiger pet, which is level 100, just to basically see what sort of damage we'll be doing with this setup. So the livid dagger does, is that 100? Couldn't even see that, to be honest. It was like 180k, 177k. Obviously if we get a back hit it'll do even double the damage. So if we test out the back hit on this zombie, if it doesn't turn around, completely missed the actual damage on that one. Let's see again. Yeah, 350k. Whereas if we use our giant sword, it's doing, what was that, 313? I couldn't quite see that, to be honest. 319k. But obviously the back hits aren't the easiest to get. I mean obviously this is way more consistent. So to be honest, it is actually a bit of a harder decision than you may think to which one is better and more worth it. Now I should say that obviously the giant sword is better in terms of damage. I mean, there's not really any doubt of that. But is it worth the price difference? Now, as you know, the price difference is literally like 150 million coins. So I'd probably say it's worth it depending on what stage of the game you actually are at and how many coins you have spare. So in conclusion, the giant sword is better. But like I said, it will literally just depend on how many coins you have spare to whether it's actually worth buying or not. But anyway, this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you all did enjoy. And if you did, please make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.